Team PS1, welcome to India Today.
Thank you.
This is truly exciting because I've been mind blown by whatever I've seen so far.
Thank you.
Right from the standees, to the intricate details on what I see on the standees, to the teasers, to the trailers, to all the conversations that you guys have been having. I did a little bit of reading up before I came. I thought I should read up before I come and have this conversation. It helps, right? For me also. I was shocked to know that there is such little information that we have on the Chola dynasty. And it has taken us so long to discover this dynasty and also explore these people who have been who are a part of our history and a part of our legacy. I was just curious to know, why did it take us so long? Was that a question also which crossed your mind while making the film? Why has it taken us so long to discover this dynasty?
Not really. I think that came much later. For me, it was more about the film and my character and working with these fabulous people and working with Manisha, predominantly. With the team, when you work with him, you usually get the best team that's out there. And that was what was, charging me. Later, after we started doing the film, and then we got into research and we read all about it. And we've heard about it. In South India, obviously, we're all aware of what the Cholas have done. Then it's only after that, because we are so caught up in this, So after that, when you think about it, and you feel good that you're out there and you're like a spokesperson actually talking to maybe the rest of India and telling them, see, this is what happened. It's happening all over India, but in the South too, we have all this happening.
Right. We've had these mainstream Hindi films depicting Mughals, or we've had these stories surrounding them and their history. Why has it taken us so long to sort of get back into our own culture, our own heritage, and weave stories? Ravi, I want to speak to you about that. What are your thoughts on that?
See, basically, cinema is a medium which looks for stories. And we have great stories. This is one such story. So it's a pride for our Indian cinema that this thing is coming out. And I don't think it is coming out today or tomorrow, whenever. I'm happy that it is coming out. So I think it's high time it comes out. So we are all happy about it. And somehow we have been chosen for this. And this team is so happy about it. Let's see it in a very positive way, that this is coming out now at the right time and with the right spirit, with the right cast and crew.
You are sort of the brand ambassadors. Yes, Sugita.
No, to your question, it made me think of what does it mean when you say our history. British presence in India is also our history.
Right.
The Cholas or the Pallavas or whoever, much like earlier, is also our history. The Mughals is also our history. India constantly has had foreign presence or like a constant shift in the rulers. So it's difficult to draw a line as to what is ours and what isn't.
Right.
During the Chola rule, Indonesia too comes under ours, but it's obviously a very separate nation now. So I think borders are porous, and history has proved that stories that become immortal are stories that must be taken forward and celebrated, and I think this is one such story.
I want to also speak to you, Karthi and Vikram sir, about Mani sir. I met him yesterday, and every time you talk to him about his work, his eyes light up, and that has not changed ever since we've seen the magic of Mani sir. What did you discover about him during the making of PS1? Because you worked with him in the past, right? What side of him did you discover, if I could start with you?
Simple thing is, when you speak about him, our eyes light up. So, that's what he is to all of us. For me, on a personal level, I've always wanted to work with him even before I came into movies, and I love cinema always, but I've loved his films the most. And my first song that I even started singing on my own, as in when I started singing, was his movies. And the first movie that I really loved was again his movie. And he brought a very different flavor to South Indian cinema, and in fact, national cinema too, the way his movies are being made. So, since I've been following him, I've always wanted to work with him, and so when I finally got to work in Ravanan and again in this, it's just a dream come true twice, and I couldn't, ask for more.
Correct me if I'm wrong, were you also supposed to be a part of Bombay?
I was supposed to be, do Arvind Sami's role. Yeah, but then fate. But never too late. I still got to do Ravan, and I think I've done lots of really interesting characters. I think Ravan is one of my best performances, and I love doing that because there were so many shades, and it was grey, and we could experiment. And since I had these 10 characters or 10 heads, it was lovely working with Manisha, because each time we did a scene, he would always ask me to experiment with each, head or person, and that was the most beautiful thing about that film. And most beautiful thing about working with him. It was like, for me, it was like a workshop. I'm just like a student when I work with him. It's like, okay, you have so much to learn. Not just about the acting, you know, the scenes, how he conceptualizes them, how he executes them, how he talks to the DOP. I've never seen anybody speak. I've worked with like the best of directors. It's always like, okay, let's go for mid-shot. Can you go for a crane and then we'll just go on down, or you just use a Jimmy or whatever. But he's like, he will talk in emotion. He'll come and say, okay, I want, like, specifically I remember that scene where Aishwarya is there and I walk and I come running up and towards the climax. And I followed him as he was explaining this. He says, Santosh, as we walk in, you feel the chill, and she's there and she's alone, and then, you know, she's looking around and she's lost, and then you have this gust of wind, and then you notice there's something there, and then he's there and he sees this and it's so cool, and she's there, and you know, the way, that's the shot he described. And so he left Santosh, just like when he talks to about acting, he won't tell us what to do. He'll explain the emotion like that. He was doing that even with the DOP. So everything about, and then what he does with the design, what he does with editing, what he does with framing, it's beautiful. And to think that he's 70 plus, whatever, and isn't he? Or he's 60, 50, 20, 30? 60.
He's ageless in his love for
He's ageless. Okay, edit that.
Just turned 16.
Whatever, 60. Okay, the thing is, whatever. His energy and what his wanting to do something different, his wanting to, every film of his is his first film. It's like that. That is something we all want to emulate. That's something we all want to do in whatever profession we are in. Sorry it took so long, but you can't put it all in a nutshell for him.
Absolutely. I mean, there is no enough time to describe him.
And I was just a fanboy speaking.
And you gave us a glimpse of how it would be to be on a set on a Maniratnam film, which is so great.
It's something else. Something else.
Karthi, as a mentor, what is it that you've taken from him? What has he added to your performance?
See, he's given me a lot of clarity on what I want to do. You know, he would say, you know, just because something is working, something is successful, you cannot just do it. It has to come from within. So you better do stuff which makes you happy in matter of choice of scripts and choice of films. That gave me a lot of clarity, that you don't have to jump, you know, not every film has to be successful, you know, not looking at what is a success, but rather trying to do a product which gives you happiness, which becomes art. And that's what becomes success also. You know, like, what's your perspective towards doing a film? And with Manisha in this film, what I see is that he'll never gives up. He will never accept a no for an answer. It has to be done, it has to be done. Imagine for this film, he's been trying to make this for the last 40 years. He's been trying to assemble it, it fizzles out. It assembles, fizzles out. Imagine for us in this generation, we don't even put ourselves through for more than 6 months. If it's not working and you want to give up and throw away and go. Great things doesn't come easy. You have to be ready for a very long grind. Only then you can achieve greatness. You know, that's something which I felt while working on this film. And he says, don't think about what other people are talking about you. Let them say good things or bad things. You know who you are. Trust in that and keep going. This is what I take away from this film.
That's a great insight to have as a mentor. I mean, these are wise words for life, not just
very,
for
very important. Absolutely. Absolutely.
I think, Trisha, your photos with Aishwarya have gone viral, and I think you've been asked about it a million times. But I'm also very curious to know from you. I was reading up a bit on how you guys sort of had this chemistry, you know. I mean, how did it work out? Because you're not supposed to like her, and he told you to stay away from her to get in character. As an actor, what was that experience like?
I hope we're good actors on that front. But no, that was actually, Manisha said it in a lighter moment, because we were being really noisy and yappy and talking, and it was a very important scene that day. So he was just laughing and passing by us, and he was like, listen, don't get too friendly, because I need you guys to like dislike each other right now. So it was one of those things. And the selfie, I don't know these days what really goes viral. Suddenly something's trending and going viral all over, and I'm wondering, like, okay, I probably would have even done that 2 years ago. Why didn't it go viral then? I think it's also the buzz and the positivity around the film that's, I think,
very high.
To be very honest, I'm very proud. Many things are trending and going viral, and it's created such a good buzz for the film.
I'm also very curious to know from both of you. My first impression when I look at the film and your characters is obviously the intricate detailing of everything from your hairdo to everything, the accessories, what you're wearing, right? When you sit on that set and you have hours and hours of hair and makeup and all of these things to do, how do you spend time? I'm just curious to know, what do you do? Are you on the phone, or are you just like...
There's no time. This is a multi-star. That's the best part about this film. Had this been a film where I didn't have these people around me, it would have probably been tougher.
Of course.
Right? So this was fun.
Yeah.
Like maybe her ears were bleeding and my arm was scratched, but we would chat in between shots and the same with each of us. So we didn't feel the pain of it at all.
So I think when people paint a picture of an actress getting ready, I think they imagine her just sitting back, sipping on some cola, and there's like a village of people working around her. I don't think it's so pleasant. No, but it's all right.
The village of people around us is a true story, but it's not as pleasant as...
Because every time we bump into her room, she'll look different. She'll be halfway through. She said, don't come inside. Because she has such a big hairdo, it just go over her head.
It was
People
fun.
used to, catch it for her.
If I had to ask you, if you get a chance, when you have a film like this, right, if you had to take something home from the film, something you've worn or a part of your ensemble or something on the set, what memorabilia would you take from PS1 as a memory?
Can we take someone else's too?
Yes.
I like his crown.
Oh.
It was real
Would you
gold,
give it away?
was real diamonds, and it was all, and he didn't get to wear it anyway. So, just that.
I want to take Manisha home.
Yeah. What better thing to do?
Good one.
I love the jewelry, but we aren't allowed to take them. They're all original.
Yeah.
Some of so basically all my costumes were made from saris.
Right.
I would love to take some of the fabric back home. It's beautiful. I mean, you guys would know once you see the film. There's so much that's gone into it.
I have taken, like Manisha would work, like do some homework on some sides, scenes for the day, like rough work. So I had taken those home. I just wanted to have his handwriting.
Wow.
It's a bit psychotic if you think of it, but yeah.
You've taken it now, there's no going back, and that's for a lifetime to
Yeah.
keep.
You were searching for that third scene, no, that day? Remember?
See, sir was missing, we said.
We lost half a day because of my dialogues. You know who's the culprit.
I'm also very curious to know, as actors, right, and now there is so much talk about social media. That's another way of promoting a film. You connect with your fans directly. You don't have a barrier. You can directly sense what they are expecting from you. What do you make of this noise that social media is also a factor that can contribute to whether you are watching a film or not watching a film? What do you make of that noise, that whole chatter?
A lot.
No, I think it's all good because if your film is good, it's automatically going to get received. But the thing is, what is nice about social media right now, I feel, is initially we had this headache of posters and hoardings, and I remember when Aparajit was released, we had about 62 hoardings all over Chennai. So the producer would go say, okay, this whole building, I want this. And then they had brought this rule where they said, you can't have hoardings anymore. And we didn't know what to do. What do you do? And you can't put posters out.
Yes.
We were lost. Now you just have to put out a first look. It's already viral. Like, we've actually started promotions only now.
Yes.
People are asking us, when are you going to start? And what about North India, blah, blah. But the thing is, because of social media, in just a few days, it's all over the place. It depends on how you do it and also the energy that the film has.
Yeah.
So it depends on that. But of course, if you make a film that's not very good, and then you're going to invite a lot of negative criticism, which I guess, and of course, reviews do affect our films. Definitely it does. I guess just put your best foot forward and try to do good stuff.
I mean, there's a good and a bad side to everything. So we... At the good
No,
side
for example, the trailer of the film.
Yes.
When you go to somewhere remote place in India, they have already seen the trailer of this film.
Yeah.
Imagine earlier you have to reach out to them.
Physically.
It will only play on television or in theatre. Now because of the mobile phones, they get to see it even if they are working somewhere in the mountains. They know this film is coming out. They
And
know
you
they've
need to
seen
have a
it.
very big budget film to have a trailer in the theatre.
Yeah.
Yes.
And they can't do all the theatres. It'll only be 5. In Chennai, we'll have 3 there is written Satyam. This is, oh damn good, damn good. What about the other? No, we can't get it.
Yeah.
It was that expensive. So nobody will see it.
The thing is that you can reach out so many people. And
Overnight.
Yeah.
Absolutely, which wasn't possible before.
Earlier.
Yes.
That's true. And also just the fact that, you know, we are getting introduced to history. Bahubali came and then that sort of opened up doors. Then that whole conversation happened about how this is the first. And then films followed. Now our take and our way of looking at films has changed for sure, right? It's evolved, it's different, it's not been the same anymore. This whole conversation about pan-India has been going on for a very long time, and I think now that term is also misused a lot. Just as, I'm not going to ask you any of those questions, but just as people who watch films also, you're also an audience, right? What is your take on this conversation that has been going on with regional cinema, and then with North cinema, and then with pan-India, all of these things?
No, I think, see, our culture is like that, our country is like that. We have so many, it's like, I was just telling someone earlier, Arabia is just one language, one religion, but it's so many countries, but we are not like that. And forget about the many languages and cultures, just go to Tamil Nadu, you have dialects and you have subcultures, and like, I wouldn't understand, like his Tamil, where he comes from is a little more difficult for me, and it's more beautiful. If you go a little further down, you won't understand. Likewise in Kerala, I may know Malayalam, but if I go to Trivandrum, I won't have a clue. I'll be clueless. I may understand in Cochin, so there are dialects just in a state.
Absolutely.
So when it's like that, you obviously are going to have that kind of a disparity between languages and states. But this, I love this, the fact that till now, till the pandemic happened, we didn't have streaming platforms, so people were not that exposed. I mean, we did have stray films getting released in Hindi or dub, which may happen 1 year later or whatever. But now you can actually, if there is a, see, a Malayalam market is such a small market, but Minnal Murali became such a huge hit because quickly it was on streaming platforms and you got it. So I think that has opened doors to the extent that even me, I for one, I met a lot of people who say, I'd rather watch a film with subtitles than watch the dubbed version, which is such a beautiful thing. And I think Bahubali has opened doors for all of us. For the largeness, and not only that, we're able to make bigger films. We didn't have to look at Hollywood and think, guys, you're spending so much on CG and what do we do? And I mean, all the guys who do CG, of course, Indians, but we don't get them in our films and they're very substandard. But now you actually have, you can have a budget, you can work for that, and you have a wider audience, you have bigger projects, and I think it's the best thing that's happened. And there's nothing, I mean, Pan-India, whether they abuse the term or not, I think it's come to stay. And it's like everybody will make films for a wider audience. When I first met, I was just thinking only Tamil Nadu, then Andhra came, and then Malayalam, and I was so happy. But Kannada, no, they don't do Kannada films. And, you know, now you just chill like Minnal.
I actually feel like a lot of films, even regional films from the south, Marathi films, I mean, they've been dubbed in whatever languages. So historically, I feel like people have been used to watching regional films. Like, and I think Bahubali was not, I don't know if that was the first time something came out and the public in the north has been exposed to something like that, but it became a very, it became the validation that one needed to officially take steps to make a film that caters to as many people as possible. But I do think that people in the north were consuming content from the south all along for a very, very long time.
But what used to happen is, they would take our films and they'd remake it.
Yeah.
Like a lot of my films, like I'll always be, like even Telugu that used to happen. Then slowly Hindi, like so many, like Sedu, a lot of my films, like they were remade instead of, you know, so you always feel, what if those films had been, you know, if we had a market like this.
Yeah, that's an interesting thought, because obviously that you start thinking on those lines now, and it's an open question.
You'll be wondering, I used to think I should tell the producer not to give rights away. But now I'm thinking, okay, I have to tell the producer not to, you know, release it, I mean, sell off the rights and what, you know, you keep thinking, you think of a wider audience now.
Yeah.
It's really...
And also, I mean, this is serious business, what you guys do when the camera goes on and you have money, sir, at the back of it. But when the camera is off, and you guys have been together for quite some time now, and you sort of, you know each other well. I'm just curious to know, what were some of the fun memories that you had off camera when you are in costume and you're like looking at each other, like you said, like she looks so different from the time she sat on that chair to the time she came off that chair, right? From the height of her hair to how different she looked. You were transported to a different time altogether, literally, right? When you see each other.
Yeah.
What was that like? Karthi, if you want to take this.
There was one day where the entire cast was present and I had to go for the loo. If I had to walk and come back, it would probably take me 30 minutes. So I just picked up a scooter and I went. You should have seen people looking at me like that, in this attire, and I'm going. I think I was the most person photographed on that particular day. It's a simple thing like that, you know, would just crack up so many people, because you saw the period that Manisha tried to create was so original all around. That anything, then a cell phone coming inside a frame, like what they did, then they had a selfie, they were like, what's happening, man? You know, it can really throw you off for a second and you're wondering what's happening there. And Manisha would always keep cracking jokes. For a man who's so serious about his work, you don't know when a one-liner is coming from him. Like for example, when we were shooting, you want to say that? No, actually he was getting on the elephant. And this character, Raja Chola, had his connect with an elephant where he would talk to the elephant. He knows the language of the elephant. All the Mughals knew it. So this shot where he had to say something to the elephant, and Manisha said, "What are you going to say?" He said, "Sir, I'll say something. It's a silent shot. I'll say something." "No, say the film has to get over very soon." He would always come up with something totally unexpected. Because it was COVID time, we were trying to finish the film. All our dates are getting stretched. And Manisha had this thing to say, "Tell the elephant that the film has to get over soon." And he actually said that on the camera. Probably if you zoom in, you can figure out.
No, I covered it.
You didn't say it.
No, I had a surrealistic thing too. What happened is the first time I came for the shoot, it was like height of the pandemic and the lockdown and stuff. And we were actually, all of us had to be checked and we were in a bubble. We were like that. So I walked in and I was like, I hadn't gotten to my shooting was the next day. So as I walk in, I see all these people getting ready and I see all of them in their regalia. They're like that. I walk in and then I was shocked because inside it's a huge set with pillars and blah, blah, blah. And it's 9th century. But everyone was in PPE, glasses, and it looked like a lab. It was so surrealistic because I was just, and there were about, like everybody in the unit, about 200 people, all in white, with shoes, and I mean with the caps, and I didn't know any, like I met some of them later, I couldn't recognize them. Right. Because I've got used to seeing them in white. So that was very weird. Like.
Yeah. Trisha, what was it like for you to physically completely transform, look-wise transform? What was that like? So like what is the funny stories you have on that?
Lots of funny stories, but we had a lot of prep time to get into the character, right? Because that's how Manisha works for any film, actually. He believes in a lot of homework, however prominent your role is or whatever character you're playing. So, like since we had, and actually even during the pandemic, he was continuously working, running us by looks, what worked. So there were like about 5 look tests with about 100 looks we did, and then which were shortlisted to 50, 25, 20, 10, and then he chose the best 10. Yes. So since we had this much of homework, and even with hair, even with makeup, with everything, so it was a process. But I would not call it very difficult because when you start from the top and you do step 1, 2, 3, you kind of start enjoying it. And when the final what is the final product? Getting on set and delivering your dialogues. It was fairly simpler. I mean, had we not had this much of prep time, oh my God, this would have been an ordeal because everything would have been very alien and new to us.
Yeah. You got that prep time, which obviously made things...
Absolutely. But then I've done a film with Manisha even a decade and a half ago. It was equal amount of prep time even for that. So that's how Manisha functions. He believes in that when an artist comes on set, you have to be thorough. So that was why I think there was zero insecurity on set or no one had any issues. Of course, it was difficult because getting into costume and physically being there is a bit of a challenge. But otherwise, he instills that confidence in you. You know, he just loads you with it that when you go there, you're like nice and full of confidence.
Yeah. When the film hits theaters, who amongst you is the most likely to sort of be the first one to jump on and start sharing all the buzz on it? Like, these are the numbers, this is the reaction, this is what it's doing.
Numbers, maybe.
Anything to do with numbers, pictures, mood.
She's after
this interview, she'll be sharing a selfie with you. Or someone else will be sharing a selfie.
Yeah, I love it.
She's totally into it. She loves it.
See, when there's something positive, I just love to, I revel in it. So.
No, because obviously it's like letting go, right? Now it's up to the audience.
But the funny thing is, most people complain I'm not active on social media. But for this film, somehow the buzz is so positive. That's what I was just telling them yesterday. It's not that I'm like on social media. There have been so many complaints about why you're not seen enough. But the buzz is so positive around this. And I don't mean just from the audience, also amongst ourselves. So
I've also not been like last 4, 5 years.
None of them have actually been.
Suddenly
this is the first, right, for all of you to sort of experience that, and for fans to also get a glimpse of the film.
We've been sharing so much of nothing also. It's not anything significant, something just walking.
Just walking, and like, it's just nice.
Like at home, my folks are saying, what's wrong with you? You're just walking, why do you put that up? Felt nice.
No, but I mean, on a parting note, I think PS1 is something that everybody is excited for. So much of hard work, so much of dedication, every intricate detail, even the, every small thing, the engraving on that has been done to the T. And that's what Manisha told me. So much of research has gone. It's going to be a treat for all of us. Absolute honor to also watch this film. And I wish you guys all the very best.
Thank you
and I hope that we connect post-release to sort of see the joy and excitement on all your faces. And you're doing amazing in general. So thank you so much for sharing.
Before you finish, on behalf of everyone, I'd like to thank India Today for what you guys are doing. They've been putting out some
We've been sort of giving a glimpse of the film for the last 1 week on each character. And
in all languages, actually. Every character, they've been giving teasers, trailers, they've been giving descriptions.
I think it's important for people to also
That
do
is
a bit
wonderful.
of
I mean,
reading
Yeah,
up.
that is
Thank you
We
so
also
much.
want to personally thank people in the north. So many brothers and sisters
Yes,
here.
yes.
They're sending us so much love online.
So
Yeah.
welcoming,
Yes,
yeah.
we've been blessed, and we're so thankful this time that, happy this time that we're bringing something big to offer them.
Yes.
They've been giving us so much love,
So
and this is, they've taken so much care in getting it right, like a proper Hindi film.
Yeah.
Because they've been watching films which we have been doing in South, but now it's become all over. The boundaries are broken, and because we have something so big to offer, we're so proud, and I'm hoping they'll also feel proud about us.
It's like for festivals, if you're Guji, you'll go give something.
Yeah,
It's like that from the south, we've got this platter full of delicacies and
And
we want to share it with
We're
you.
all up for grabbing it as we're waiting.
And that's our way of saying thanks for all the love. But thank you for a lovely
Thank you
session.
so much.
Really enjoyed it.
you.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much,
Thank you
guys.
so
All the
much.
very best.
Thank you
Thank you
very
so
much.
much.